mission of the Ralph Ellison Foundation, of course, is to honor Mr. Ellison and also to do good works in his name. And in three areas that we consider to be attributes of Mr. Ellison. Of course, he was a musician, he was a writer, and he was an artist. So we create programming that empower the lives of others.
The Ralph Ellison Foundation isn't just for a handful of Ralph Ellison enthusiasts. You know, this is so much bigger than this. This is about encouraging Oklahoma City to embrace its diversity, to embrace culture and literacy, and to be proud of somebody like Ralph Ellison, who meant so much to so many intellectuals around the world for the last 50 years.
I think it's important to understand that Ellison's legacy doesn't belong simply to the foundation. It belongs to Oklahoma. He's an Oklahoman. He was born and raised here.
I'm really optimistic that this year we get the birthplace marker done because, you know, Ralph Ellison, one of the greatest writers in all the history of literature, was born right here in Oklahoma City at what is now about Russell Perry and First Street. And there's no marker to that effect. And I think that needs to change. I think the foundation certainly feels that way. We've been doing some work on that, so I'm excited about that.
We're hoping in 2017 to have his birth marker out there, and we're hoping to have you come and celebrate that moment with us.
I mean, Deep Deuce has a ton of history. Ralph Ellison is one of the shining lights of that, and I think it'll be just one more reason to visit Deep Deuce. And you know, there's a restaurant there now that's got a big picture of Ralph Ellison and his quotes on the walls, and I think it'd be great if they could say, if you just mosey up that hill about 200 feet, you'll see where he was born.
Flying Home, of course, is a collection of Mr. Ellison's short stories that are really based in Oklahoma, his experience here. And so we were fortunate enough to get a grant from Oklahoma Humanities, which allowed for us to create his curriculum for high schools.
The Ralph Ellison Flying Home Curriculum Guide is a guide for teachers to actually use to facilitate a discussion and projects with 9th through 12th graders around race, identity, love, relationships, and the human experience. Dr. Ashanti and I, you know, we wanted to make sure that we incorporated some historical aspects within there and create projects and activities that kind of take students out of the traditional classroom setting of learning, where they are actually able to be their own creatives.
Reading Clinic starts every Saturday from 9:30 to noon here at the Ralph Ellison Library. It was born out of the fear for the kids who weren't going to pass a third grade mandated reading test. My grandfather, James, said we need to have some type of after-school tutoring club for the kids. The first year, all of our third graders passed the reading test. Not one failed it. The second year, it was the same percentage.
But you know what I've learned? I look at the emotion and expression on their face. And if he can learn how to read, they have a different expression, emotion, and you know what? Their behavior change. They come in the classroom and they listen to the teacher.
Well, for the Ralph Ellison Creative Writing Workshops, we're very fortunate to partner with the Red Earth Low Residency MFA program and the Short Order Poets. What we found was just such a vast array of talent involved with both organizations and a ready team of writing instructors who could meet informally and really bring their expertise.
We run them every second Thursday of the month, and they are creative writing workshops designed to welcome anybody who wants to explore creative writing. It's inspiring to go over to the library, this library named after Ralph Ellison, and work in an underserved community. And I think this workshop gives a lot of those people who come in, who are exploring their voice, a place to explore it and to be heard and to feel like their voice really has value.
One of the foundation's goals was to ensure that Mr. Ellison was recognized within his own city. And so a couple years ago, we began to discuss the idea of having posters for Black History Month. And I'm excited to say that we were able to find an awesome artist, Tiffany Sanders.
I wanted to have an effect on someone. I didn't want it to be so bland, that people just look at it and, you know, okay, we've seen that before. So I had to really delve deep into who this man was and what he was about. And I wanted to create images that would provoke thought, make them want to learn about this person, and make it aesthetically pleasing as well.
And we have them in the schools. I mean, as I speak to you tonight, they are in Oklahoma City Public Schools.
And so I said, oh, would it be interesting to make a poster about the light bulb room? And it could be two ways, light bulb room or the Invisible Man. Either way, it'll work together.
Well, our In the Light Bulb Room series takes its central motif from Ellison's novel Invisible Man. When we first meet the narrator, he's retreated to what amounts to a basement bunker, living in isolation, retreating from the world where he experienced nothing but racism and disillusionment, and has rigged up his basement room with 1,369 light bulbs in a quest for clarity, for vision, for understanding. And so we've taken some of that motif and the ideas surrounding it to create a space of enlightenment that's also reflection, healing in the way that it is in the book, experimentation, but to put the emphasis on coming together, not on isolation, but community, and establishing a zone of conversation where people can talk about difficult topics in honest but respectful ways.
We get such enormous positive feedback about creating an environment where people can speak freely about their beliefs and where they feel valued.
It's amazing to watch things like this, to where the influence is starting to spread and bring more and more people. We've seen different faces every time. We've heard amazing questions, and people are very eager to bring an amazing and the appropriate changes needed to Oklahoma.
We want Oklahomans and people around the world to know that Ralph Ellison is from here, and that's not just because he wrote a good book. It's because of all that he stood for. And those are the things that a big league city stands for, about diversity and intellectualism. And it's really important to Oklahoma City that Ralph Ellison always be an integral part of our identity.
So many of the partnerships we were able to forge over the past year, and so many, the Oklahoma Contemporary, the Oklahoma City Thunder, for God's sake, working with Penny Candy Books, working with the Short Order Poets, working with the Red Earth MFA at OCU. All of these things have been opportunities for us to not just reach a new audience and broaden our own range, but to discover new projects together.
For a group of largely volunteers, we're getting a lot done, and I think 2017, will be more of the same. But the funds that we raise at dinners like we're having, in February are so critical to keeping that mission going.
We want to expand even more. We want the curriculum to be not just in Oklahoma City, but throughout the nation. We want his posters to be throughout the nation. We want to be able to continue these conversations beyond Oklahoma City. And to do that, of course, we need your donations. We need your support. We need your volunteerism.